Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is November 8th, 2024, and the talented African duo David Oduro and Abdelaziz Isa have finally debuted. Also, Joan Laporta is contemplating moving the elections from 2026 till 2025. And finally, the board of directors have approved the Nike deal. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the Barca News live podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, usually around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, I'm starting late, very late, actually, an hour and a half late. I do apologize about that, but I was working pretty late today. I just finished work, and right away, I hopped on here so I can share all the Barcelona news with you, and I can also interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering your questions, and getting the discussion going. For those of you who'll be watching when I was going to call it live cast. When the podcast ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timelines in case you do want to skip through the discussion and just get straight into the news. Having said all that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to Gold Kids Kit Bag of Fanatics. If you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are in the description. If you click on them, you would be helping, or you would be supporting this channel, or you would also be helping yourself because you do get access to some pretty cool deals and offers. Anyways, having said all that, let's dive right into the news. And as always, the first segment of news has little bits of news, 3 bits of news, all combined together. But first, that reminds me, I do want to go off a separate tangent because you won't believe the meltdown that people are having in the comment section in my previous video about Thierry Henry. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Thierry Henry made some statements where he said that the new era didn't start under Flick, it started under Xavi. I made a video explaining why I think he's wrong or why I disagree with him. And people are having a meltdown in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. People are going, no, Mo, you're wrong. You're a hater. You're toxic, blah, blah, blah. Just freaking out. And it's like, people, calm down. It's okay to have different opinions, right? People are like, no, Mo, you have to agree with me. Agree with me now. It's like, people, calm down, chill. Not everybody's going to think like you. If you think differently, that's fine. But what's the whole astonishing thing about this whole thing, it's incredible how many people are ill-equipped to deal with different opinions. If like they see a different opinion and they freak out. It's just like their mind just short circuits. It's like, how dare you think differently than me? Like, no, that cannot happen. You have to agree with me. And it's like, my friend, it's okay. It's okay if someone thinks differently than you. It's normal. Most likely, most people think differently than you. And if you don't know how to navigate different opinions, you're gonna struggle in life because you're gonna come across different opinions in all the areas of your life, at home with your family, at work with your coworkers, with your friends on the street, with strangers. You're going to come across a lot of different opinions in your life. And if you don't know how to handle that, if you don't know how to navigate that, if your first reaction to a different opinion is to freak out and just start hurling insults, you're going to struggle. So my advice to you, learn how to deal with different opinions. Learn to think that different opinions are okay. Not everybody's going to think like you. And that's a good thing, actually. Diversity of opinion is good. The other astonishing thing about what's going on in that video is it's pretty astonishing how many people are ill-equipped to articulate their own opinion because people are like, you're wrong. I'm like, okay, why? Crickets, right? Or Mo, you're just a hater. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're an idiot. And it's like, okay. If you're going straight into insults, it tells me you don't know how to articulate your own opinions. Because if you knew how, you would tell me, hey, Mo, you're wrong, and this is why. You made 3 points. You're wrong about point A because ABC. You're wrong about point B because ABC. You're wrong about point 3 or point C because ABC. But instead, they go straight into insults, which, again, tells me that you don't have the intellectual capability of articulating your own opinions. And the only thing you're doing, you're not doing yourself any favor. You're just losing by default. Because on one hand, you have an argument, and on the other hand, you have insults. So you got nothing, right? Just empty words. So another advice to you, not only learn how to deal with different opinions and not only learn that it's okay that other people think differently than you, also learn how to articulate your own opinion. If you do these things, it's going to go a lot better for you in life, in all aspects of your life, in your personal relationships, in your career, etc. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I had to say it because, again, people are just freaking out, man. They're having meltdowns in the comment section. It's like, oh, no, someone thinks differently than me. Please stop it. Think like me. Think like me. Oh, before I forget, we have a winner. We officially have a winner. In 2 years of Barca News, this channel has existed for 2 years. We're coming up in 2.5 years. But in 2 years of Barca News' existence, we have a winner of the dumbest comment I've ever read. This guy asked me a very stupid question and said, did Xavi steal your lunch money? You know, as in alluding that the only reason I criticize Xavi is because, Xavi stole my lunch money. So since he asked me a stupid question, I said, okay, I'm going to ask you the same stupid question back. I was like, well, I don't know. Did Xavi give you lunch money? You know what his reply was? This is pretty amazing. He said, oh, yeah, I'm so poor because I'm black. So, yeah, Xavi gave me lunch money. So I asked him the same stupid question he asked me, and he decided to accuse me of racism. Bravo, bravo. So, yes, we have a winner. Dumbest comment in the 2 years since the existence of Barca News. And I guess the flash news today is not only am I a hater and a toxic and a Real Madrid fan, now I'm a racist too. So add it to the list of insults that I've received. But anyways, let's dive right into the news because, ladies and gentlemen, Luis de la Fuente has released his list of players that he has called up to this dreadful FIFA international break where Spain will be playing 2 matches in garbage and made up, and I will always call it a garbage and made up tournament called the UEFA Nations League. I don't know who Spain is playing because I don't care about this league or about this trophy or competition. And well, this is the players that he has called up. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, there are 4 Barcelona players who have been called up, and they are Marc Casado, Lamine Yamal, and also Dani Olmo and Pedri. I think I have the wrong, oh my God, I have the wrong picture. I apologize about that, guys. But anyways, setting that aside, the 4 players that have been called up are Dani Olmo, Pedri, Marc Casado, and Lamine Yamal. Now, there are good things about this list, and there are bad things about this list. I guess the general bad thing about this list is Barcelona players have been called up. I don't like when Barcelona players get called up to the FIFA international break because it has not been good to us. Our players always get injured. I hate it, and especially I hate it when it's the UEFA Nations League because, again, it's a garbage made-up competition. These used to be friendly matches that teams would play just so they could stay in competitive rhythm, and then UEFA decided, oh, let's just create a competition out of it. We make more money, and we force clubs to have to release their players, right? Because clubs don't have to release players for friendly matches, but they do have to release their players for competition. But nonetheless, general bad thing, they're Barcelona players going. But there are good things. A, Marc Casado has been called up, and that is good in the sense that he deserves it. He 100% deserves it. Marc Casado is undoubtedly the best defensive midfielder in all of Spain right now by a mile. No one even comes close to him, and he 100% deserves it. So congratulations to Marc Casado, who has been called up by the Spanish national team. On the other hand, I hate that he got called up, to be honest, because I would rather him stay in Barcelona, resting and not risking injury, but he deserves it. So congratulations to Marc Casado. Bad things about this list. Dani Olmo got called up. And I don't like that because Dani Olmo just came back from injury. We've seen how Hansi Flick has been using him, not full 90 minutes, sometimes 60, sometimes 30, because Flick is trying to protect him, right? Dani Olmo just came back from injury, and he has been called up to Spain. I don't like that one bit, but moving back to the good things. Gabi hasn't been called up. That's great news, because remember a few days ago I made a video about how Luis de la Fuente was considering of calling up Gabi, and I was like, what the hell are they thinking? Gabi just came back from being a year injured, and now they're thinking about calling him up. That didn't happen. Pau Cubarsí hasn't been called up. That's also good, because remember, he has that cut on his face. He needs to heal from that cut. Alejandro Balde, he didn't get called up. Not sure why, but I'm not going to complain. I'd rather Balde rest. Iñigo Martinez did not get called up. And even though I'm happy because that's one less Barcelona player risking injury and getting tired, I do think he deserves it. To me, Iñigo Martinez is top 2 defenders in all of Spain alongside Pau Cubarsí. Maybe I'm being biased, but Iñigo Martinez's form has been impeccable. I think he deserved the call-up. He didn't. But again, I'm happy that he didn't, but I think he did deserve it. And finally, the other good thing is, what was the other player I wanted to talk about? I completely forgot. Pedri. That's actually bad news. He got called up, but it is what it is. So good news. Gabi not getting called up. Pau Cubarsí not getting called up since, Fermin. I was going to talk about Fermin. Fermin didn't get a call up, so that's also good because he's also coming back from injury. Bad things. Obviously, Dani Olmo, who just came back from injury, did get called up. And of course, congratulations to Marc Casado. All right. Next bit of news. And this is really exciting news because, ladies and gentlemen, the African duo, David Oduro and Abdelaziz Isa, have finally got their debuts. And I'm very excited about that. Of course, David Oduro, 18-year-old left back out of Ghana, one of the most promising players to come out of the African continent. He's actually been labeled as the Ghanaian Alphonso Davies because he's very talented. He has very similar characteristics to Davies as far as speed, ball control, physicality, etc. And then there's Abdelaziz Isa, who's more of a number 10. He's also an incredibly talented player, one of the most promising players to come out of the African continent. He actually won an award for best young player in Africa. So two promising players who Barcelona signed over the summer as soon as they turned 18, especially Oduro. It took a very long time for the Spanish government to process their visas, their paperwork. So for the longest time, they were just sitting in Ghana, waiting to have their paperwork approved. Their paperwork finally got approved. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. They flew into Spain and now officially received their debut. David Oduro debuted at the 46th minute and Abdelaziz Isa debuted at the 74th minute. And I have to say, I'm very excited to see what these two talented young men will have to show us. Now, of course, it is going to take them some time. Remember, they're still young. They just made a move to Europe. It's going to take them some time. So let's not rush them. Let's not be like, oh, where are they? What's going on? It's going to take some time. We need patience, but nonetheless, excited that they finally, after 3 months since we signed them, they finally got their debut. And the last bit of news is that Frankie de Jong, he has received his call-up to the Netherlands by Ronald Koeman. Another player I'm not too happy about that he got called up because just like Dani Olmo, Frankie de Jong, he too just came back from injury, a long injury. He was, from April to October, so 6 months being injured. And I would have preferred that he stayed at Barcelona. But nonetheless, this is where we are. Hopefully, all of our players come back healthy. And hopefully, that FIFA virus does not strike again. Anyways, that is all the bits of news that I combined together. Let's do the comment section, and then we will talk about Joan Laporta and the possibility of holding elections in 2025. And we do have a donation from Blaurana Kule, who's always very generous. Says, greetings, Mo. Hope you have a great weekend. And Vizca Barca PS, Lewandowski scores first this weekend. I hope so. But thank you, my friend, for your comment. Thank you for your generosity. I hope you have a great weekend. And yes, Vizca Barca. And I mean, if Lewandowski scores first, I wouldn't be surprised. He's been on a killer streak. Lewandowski's on a killer streak. And of course, I welcome it because we need all of our players to be in top shape. All right, let's see. Brian says, what's up, Mo? What's that, Brian? Wait, is it Brian or Brian? I need my glasses. There we go. Brian. Yes, Brian says, what's up, Mo? What's up, Brian? Thank you for watching and for your comment. And Ralph says, Couleurs, you all came here for the Nike deal. It's coming. Everything smart. Says, Mo, great job Morgan from London. Barca deal is on. All right. What's up, Morgan? All the way from London. Thank you for watching and thank you for your comment. And Aka says, what's your thought about the election? That's the next segment. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. But Doozy says, hey, Mo, we should rest Casado now. He does need rest. But here's my problem. Here's my problem with the whole thing. So we have to rest him because he got called up to Spain, right? And I hate the fact that we as a club have to rest our players and plan our players' schedule based on the Spanish national team's requirements when it's Barcelona who's paying the salaries of these players. And that bothers me a lot because it's Barcelona who pays Casado's salary. It's Barcelona who will continue to pay his salary if Casado, God forbid, gets injured. It's Barcelona who's going to have to pay for the recovery of Marc Casado if, God forbid, he gets injured. But then, you know, we're the ones who have to be resting him and planning our calendar around the Spanish national team, even though the Spanish national team does not pay the salary, does not pay the recovery, doesn't do shit. But yet they call up our players to participate in this retarded, made-up competitions like the UEFA Nations League. If this was the World Cup qualifiers, I get it. By all means, yes, you need that. But the UEFA Nations League, like, you seriously telling me you need the best players to play against weak teams in the UEFA Nations League? Because I think Spain is playing against Sweden, or I don't freaking know. I don't even care, but it really pisses me off. Kurt Alexander says, good night, Mo. What an amazing turnaround for Barca. I agree 100%, my friend. It's been night and day from last season to this season. And what's the most amazing thing about it is not just how great the team is playing, is how fast Flick was able to turn things around. That's the most impressive things because, remember, projects take time. And, you know, I was expecting the first few months to be up and down, bumps, struggles, and then maybe towards the second half of the season for the team to start improving. But it only took us like 2 weeks. Remember, only the first two matches did Barcelona kind of struggle. And he won, I think both matches were 2-1. And after that, it was just takeoff, liftoff, right? And that's insane. I didn't expect that kind of liftoff so fast. I thought that would happen in the second half of the season. I thought maybe it won't even happen until next season. I mean, the amount of time that Flick took to turn things around has been nothing short of miraculously. Let's see. Ralph says, you're absolutely right. Hate Xavi's fans more than Xavi himself. Henry is a loudmouth who's jealous that Flick is doing what he expected Xavi to do. He was just looking out for his teammate. I mean, look, I don't blame. I have nothing bad to say about Thierry Henry. He's an absolute legend, one of the best attackers of modern football. He was just looking out for his friend, you know, because he sees now that Xavi's getting attacked left and right. And he decided to, you know, just throw him a bone, trying to defend them. I don't think he's right, but apparently, in today's day and age, people are so sensitive that when they hear a different opinion, they just like completely freak out. But anyways, all right, let's go back to the news because we do have to talk about Joan Laporta because the Barcelona president is seriously considering moving the elections from the summer of, or from 2026 to the summer of 2025. So bringing the elections 1 year earlier than what they are when they are supposed to be held. Now, what's the reason behind this? The reason behind this is because Joan Laporta's advisors, political advisors, because at the end of the day, the position of a Barcelona president, it's a political position, right? You have to campaign, you have to get elected. It's a political position, and as such, Joan Laporta has political advisors that advise him how to run his campaign and how to get elected/re-elected. Well, Joan Laporta's advisors have advised Joan Laporta, or have been advising him for quite some time, to hold the elections earlier to give him an advantage and win another term. Now, at first, Joan Laporta was very hesitant, but now they're saying that Joan Laporta has turned around and he's seriously considering holding the elections in the summer of 2025 because his advisors have handed him a report that pretty much lays out the case or makes the case that if Laporta does hold the elections in 2025, it's almost a guaranteed win. It's not 100% guaranteed, and nothing is 100% guaranteed in life, especially in politics. But this report makes a pretty strong argument that if Laporta runs in the summer of 2025, he will get reelected. Now, what are these reasons that the report cites? It's three things. First of all, Right now, Joan Laporta has very high approval ratings amongst the club members and club socios, who are the ones who vote in these elections, because what's going on with Flick, right? Joan Laporta took a big risk in firing Xavi, because Xavi being a club legend, a lot of people were against firing him. Laporta fired Xavi. That was a big risk. And then he brought in Hansi Flick, right? A total outsider that could have gone either way, right? Because after all, there was a lot of hesitance to the hiring of Flick within the club, because they thought he didn't perhaps have enough experience. He had only coached, Bayern Munich for 2 seasons. The German national team, it didn't work out. So there was a lot of pushback within the club towards hiring Flick. And of course, there was pushback against firing Xavi, being a Barcelona legend. And Laporta went against both pushbacks, I guess. Firing Xavi and hiring Flick. And while the bet paid handsomely to Joan Laporta, because right now the team is flying. Everybody's in love with what Flick is doing and with the team. Therefore, right now, Joan Laporta's ratings are pretty high because his bet paid off. The second reason that this report cites to on why Joan Laporta should hold the elections in 2025 is that the opposition right now is not strong enough to defeat Joan Laporta. And the main reason for this is the General Assembly. As you might recall, the General Assembly was October 19th, and all the opposition united, that all the different parties that were hoping to run against Joan Laporta, they all united against him in an effort to have the club socios reject and not approve the Barcelona budget. And despite all the opposition uniting together, Joan Laporta received overwhelming support from the club socios. Imagine if this opposition would have gone like individually, they would have gotten wrecked. They got wrecked as a whole. Individually, they would have gotten wrecked even more. So because of this huge approval for what Joan Laporta is doing in the General Assembly, this report thinks that the opposition right now is simply not strong enough to defeat Laporta. So if he runs, most likely he will beat all of them. The third point what this report cites to as far as why Joan Laporta could win is the stadium, right? The Espai Barca project is nothing new. This is something that the club have been thinking about for years and years, but no one had the balls to pull the trigger. There comes Joan Laporta during a dark time of the club. The club is struggling financially. The sporting project is in shambles. And he pulls the the trigger during the hardest time. That was a huge, huge risk, because if things would have gone bad, it probably would have drowned the club in debt and it would have been over. But it's paying off. The stadium is coming along. It's on schedule. And therefore, the approval ratings of Joan Laporta are also high because of that. Because of the stadium, because of Flick, the team, and finally, the opposition is not strong enough. So for all these reasons, this report cites that if Barcelona or Joan Laporta holds elections in the summer of 2025, most likely, highly, highly likely, he will win. And therefore, Joan Laporta is thinking about doing this. Now, what do I think about this? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, it's not illegal. In the bylaws of Barcelona, it allows you to do this. There's a process for it. Joan Laporta would have to do some paperwork. There's a process. I think club socios have to approve it. There's a process. I'm not too familiar with what the process is, but the Barcelona bylaws allow for these elections to be held earlier. So this is not illegal. This is not a coup that Joan Laporta is doing. This is totally by the book. If he does it, it would be completely legal. But the reason why I don't like it is because it seems to be taking advantage of those bylaws and holding elections earlier for your own benefit, right? You think you're riding a high wave. You're like, this is a good time, so let's hold them now versus later where things might go bad. And I don't like that. And I don't like that because, look, you have a presidential term. During that term, you do your work. You present the results to the people. If they like it, they vote you back in. If they don't like it, they don't vote you back in. That's how it should be in every democratic process. This whole like, oh, they like it now, so let's hold the elections now, or oh, they don't like it now, so let's hold them later. I don't like it. But nonetheless, it's perfectly legal. This is not Joan Laporta becoming a dictator or anything like that. It's perfectly legal. The club bylaws allow for it. So if he does it, legally speaking, it's fine. My disagreement with it is more of a, I guess, ethical disagreement, if you want to call it that. It's not anything that violates the rules. But if Joan Laporta does do it and he does win next summer, I think it will be hilarious because Victor Font had actually asked for this. Victor Font, in the million letters that he's been writing about how horrible Joan Laporta is and his board, he asked that the election should be held earlier because Laporta was such a terrible president and he was doing such a horrible job that we need to hold the elections earlier in order to save the club. So if Laporta does end up holding the elections earlier, like Victor Font requests, and he does end up winning, I think it would be pretty hilarious because talk about shooting yourself in the foot. And of course, I'm talking about Victor Font. But anyways, I'm curious to hear you guys out. What do you guys think about holding the elections earlier? Do you like it? Do you not? Let me know in the chat section or in the comment section once this ends. Let's see. Adrian says, hi, Mo. Simutoe Adrian, watching live from Zambia. Barca is also promoting the signing of Lewy's successor. What about Pau Victor? That's a good question. And I can't say for sure because I haven't heard anything about this, but I can come up with my own conclusion that if Barcelona are in the market looking for a center forward, and if Flick is not giving Pau Victor that many minutes, it means that Flick and sporting arena department, whatever the hell you want to call it, probably think that Pau Victor does not have what it takes to be the starting center forward. You know, they might be happy with him as a sub. They might be happy with him as someone who can rotate with the starting center forward. But that tells me that the club does not fully trust Pau Victor to be in the starting center forward. You know, they want a world-class center forward, right? Like Lewandowski, obviously, or Haaland, or I guess Jokic. That's a name that's being considered, right? They want someone that's world-class and probably keep Pau Victor as the sub to that center forward. Frank says, thank you, Mo, for your ability to articulate the game and the infrastructure of it. I always appreciate your knowledge of our beloved game and the business of soccer as a whole. Stay true, Bisca Barca. Thank you, my friend, for your comment, and Bisca Barca, and also thank you for watching. Roger says, good night, Mo. I have noticed something with Gotinha, and that is when we was subbed off during the UCL, he didn't complain. He wasn't upset announced whatsoever, but when he was playing for Xabi, he was. That is true. That is true. I did notice that. Remember, he used to throw like really big tantrums. One time he took off his cleat and he was like banging it against the bench. He's also kicked the bench. And then one time he even kicked the water cooler or the water jug. But when Flick takes him out, it's like he's fine. And I think that's just the environment that Flick has created where the whole locker room is just united and where the players are playing for the team, not for themselves. You see it in the goals, right? When someone scores a goal, the whole team celebrates and they all celebrate like they all scored the goal because whoever scores it is not like, yay, I scored a goal. It's like, no, yay, the team scored a goal. Yay, the team is up in the scoreline. Yay, the team is going to win. Not, yay, me, I scored a goal. And I think that's why probably Coutinho's having that reaction because he's like, if he's taking me out, it's for the good of the team. And I'm here to help the team. I don't care about how, myself, right? And I think that just shows how close-knit this locker room has become. Let's see. Adhil says, Xabi is the club legend. Sadly, our fans think legendary players means that they are legendary coaches. They mix the feelings. 100% agree with you. I think the problem with people is and why they're having such a meltdown is they cannot separate Xabi the player from Xabi the coach. And that's a problem because you have to. Xabi the player is an absolute legend of the club. Not just of the club, of the sport as a whole. Xabi Hernandez, as a player, was one of the greatest or is one of the greatest midfielders in the history of football. Not just of Barcelona, of football. Totally legendary player, period. Xabi, the coach, was a mediocre coach at best. That's it. So you got to learn how to separate. And I know people don't know how to separate because literally people, half of those comments that people are having a meltdown, they're like, Xabi's a legend, you have to respect him. And it's like, no. You have to learn how to separate Xabi the coach from Xabi the player, which is funny because with Koeman, Ronald Koeman, people did know how to separate because people forget Ronald Koeman is also a Barca legend. Maybe people don't realize that because, that was in the 90s. A lot of people who watched the channel weren't born, or if they were, like in my case, I was a very, very little kid. So like, I don't remember those matches. Like I never watched those matches. I've watched them now as an adult. And Ronald Koeman was a game changer. Like when he arrived in Barcelona, he was one of those players that revolutionized the team, right? This is kind of like the signing of Daniel, well, I guess not Daniel Olmo yet because he just arrived, but like the signing of Pedri or the signing of Lewandowski, you know, these kind of signings that immediately, as soon as they arrived, they just completely made the team better. That was Ronald Koeman. And he gave us our first Champions League trophy ever. So Ronald Koeman is a legend. As a player, is a legend. As a coach, mediocre at best. And people are fine separating the two, right? Because when Koeman was the coach, everybody was like, Koeman sucks, Koeman sucks. No one was crying like, oh, Koeman is a legend, you have to respect him. No, people called it like what it was. They called the spade a spade. Koeman was a shitty coach, and people were fine calling him a shitty coach because they were separating Koeman the coach from Koeman the legend. When it comes to Xabi, people don't know how to separate. And my question is why? Why are you okay separating Koeman the coach from the Koeman the player, but you're not okay with separating Xabi the coach from Xabi the player? Because they're both legends, by the way. But then I'm the hypocrite. People are like, you're a hypocrite. Really? I'm the hypocrite? Because you were fine criticizing Koeman, but you're not fine criticizing Xabi? Who's the hypocrite here? I don't know. Food for thought, right? Let's see. Victor says, amigo, nice being on the live podcast once again. Please, guys, smash the like button as you watch along. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for watching, for your comment. And yes, hit the like button. It's the best way to support this channel because when you hit the like button, it promotes the YouTube algorithm to recommend the podcast or the channel to people who've never seen it. And we do have another donations. Mustafa Ibrahim, thank you so much, my friend, for your generosity. But says, keep it going, Mo. Bisca Barca. Thank you, my friend. And yes, Bisca Barca. I cannot get tired of saying that. But anyways, let's get back to the last bit of news because I know all of you are waiting for this bit of news because it's a huge, so I guess it's not a bit of news. It's a huge piece of news because, ladies and gentlemen, the board of directors held an extraordinary meeting today. And during that meeting, they approved the Nike deal. So what does that mean? It means we're right there at the finish line, ladies and gentlemen. The finish line is right here, and our chest is about to rip it. We are right there at the finish line after many, many, many months of negotiations, after Barcelona had to sue Nike, after it seemed like it was done deal between Nike and Barcelona. That's it. They were going to break their partnership and go their separate ways. They were finally able to mend the fences. They were able to come back to the negotiation table. They negotiated this deal for many, many months. There were tough negotiations. And after hearing a million times that the Nike deal was done, now it's actually done, right? The agreement has been reached. This was actually reached, I think it was last month. But there were still, the small print that the attorneys were still working through. But now the attorneys have finalized the small print. The contract is done. It's negotiated, it's drafted, it's final, it's done. And since the contract was done today, the board of directors held an extraordinary meeting where they reviewed the entirety of the contract. And after reviewing it, they approved it unanimously. So the Nike deal is a done deal. The only thing missing, of course, is now Nike's signature. So now the contract is agreed to, drafted. Barcelona have approved it. Now they'll send it to Nike. They're like, okay, you guys have to read it now. And if you like it, you approve it too. And of course, Barcelona expect this deal to be approved because everything has been negotiated and everything has been agreed to. So the only thing pending is Nike's signature. And after all, the Nike deal will finally be over. Now, we don't have the exact figures and the exact clauses of the contract, but we do know a few things. The first thing is that Barcelona will earn 48 million euros more per season. Or I'm sorry, between 2024 and 2028, they will earn 48 million more than their previous contract. Now, from the years of 2028 and onward, Barcelona will earn between 58 to 60 million euros more than the previous contract. So Barcelona are looking at a huge increase in profits from the Nike deal. And of course, there's that signing bonus. But what's the problem with the signing bonus? is La Liga does not allow Barcelona to count the entire bonus as revenue. We don't know what the exact figure is. Some sources are saying 158 million. We don't know yet. We'll know more. But let's assume it's 100 million for the sake of argument. Barcelona would not be able to get that check and tell La Liga, hey, this year I made 100 million. La Liga does not allow that. So instead, Barcelona are going to have to divide the bonus across all the years of the contract. So the contract is 10 years. Let's say the bonus is 100 million. So the bonus will have to count as 10 million per year revenue plus whatever Nike's going to pay Barcelona per season. So not a problem. It's a financial fair play bullshit rule. But nonetheless, thanks to this deal, of course, Barcelona will be able to reach the 1-to-1 rule. And they'll be able to register Dani Olmo, whose registration will expire this winter transfer market. Iñigo Martinez, who's still not fully registered. Gabi still registered under a court ruling. So now they will be able to register him a normal way. And of course, there's Araujo and Christensen, who have been deregistered, but then they automatically get the registration back once the other guys are registered. So definitely great news. Nike deal approved by the board of directors, pending Nike's signature. And as soon as that happens, this deal will be official. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give ourselves a round of applause. And of course, Joan Laporta and the board of directors for getting this deal through the finish line. And tonight we celebrate. Now, of course, it's not going to be a full celebration because, again, we're pending the Nike signature. But once that happens, we'll have a full celebration. But nonetheless, it is Friday. So go ahead and celebrate Barcelona approving the Nike deal. All right, let's do the comment section. And we do have a donation from Babus Int, who says, Slot and Flick are the best coaches right now. Okay. Fair enough. To be is just Flick. But hey, look how I'm not having a meltdown because someone thinks differently than me. Oh, Mo, you're a hater. You're racist. Please think like me. If you don't think like me, you're an idiot. See, different opinions are okay, people. All right, let's see. The Matrix says, did you just say... Oh, I don't think that's directed at me. So we'll skip. But thank you for watching and your comments. Michelle says, the fact that Bernal would have helped in this situation angers me that the referee added 9 minutes. I'm not sure very clear what you're talking about. If you want to clarify down below, I'll be happy to read it. And Fitzroy, my man Fitzroy. Fitzroy is one of the oldest subscribers in the channel. He's been there since day one. And Fitzroy says, I've been waiting a long time for this deal, Mo, and finally here. God bless Barca and Nike. Me and you, my friend. Me and you. And yes, it did take forever. And honestly, it sucked for us people who brought the news because the people are constantly, Mo, what the hell are you talking about? You said 2 weeks ago the Nike deal was done. You said a month ago that the Nike deal was done. I was like, guys, don't shoot the messenger. That's what the club is saying. I'm just here to transmit it. But finally, I can say with confidence that the Barcelona board approved the Nike deal. So I don't have to come here like an idiot, be like, guys, it's next week. And then next week happened. And it's like, no, it's in 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks happened. And it's like, I don't know, guys. I don't fucking know. No more. All right, let's see. Lachlan says, I think you make a good point that people get sensitive to opinions that are against their own, but I would be hesitant to slander Xabi incessantly. It's not about slandering Xabi. It's about just being honest and saying Xabi didn't do a good job. There's things you can credit him for. I think he came during a very difficult time of the club. The team was in ruins. The club was in ruins, financially speaking. He took us from 12th to second place during that half season that he came. Following season, he won La Liga. He debuted Lamine and Coarsi. So yeah, there's things to give him credit for. But overall, his job was bad. And you can see the difference. It's literally the same team. Even though there's people who are trying to convince me that it's not the same team, like it's literally the same team. The only difference is Olmo for Gundogan. But it's literally the same team. And you see the difference from this year's team to last year's team. So right there, the proof is in the pudding that Xabi was just not performing as a coach, right? And Thierry Henry's statement saying that Flick is building upon that success, I completely disagree with it. And I explained why in the video, mainly because Flick instilled a whole new system. And that's what's working, right? People are like, oh, no, it's Xabi because, and they start naming all these players, right? Oh, it's Xabi, De Bruyne, and Rafinha, and Lewy, and Kouarsi, and that's actually, that point is playing against you, not for you. Because, okay, what did Xabi do with all those players? Which is proof that Flick is not building upon Xabi's legacy because they had the same exact players. One succeeded and one didn't. What does that mean? That means that Flick's system is the common denominator here, the difference maker. Flick's system is what made all the difference. If they had the same exact players and same exact teams and one succeeded and one didn't, then what's the reason behind the success then? It's the new system that Flick implemented. So how can you say that Flick is building upon Xabi when he instilled a whole new system that worked for the same exact players that Xabi had? It just doesn't add up. The math doesn't add up. But anyways, let's see. What else? Nima says, are there any precedents to this early election idea? I don't know if there's precedents. I would have to go back and through all the elections of Barcelona, but it is allowed. It's legal. It's allowed. This is not like a dictator move that's just like trying to suspend elections and just declare himself winner. Like, it's a thing. I'm sure it's happened before in other ways that that I think probably, I imagine they envisioned this rule as a way to get rid of bad presidents. Like, oh, you have a president who's doing horribly, so you move the election earlier, you vote him out, and you bring someone else. So I imagine that's why they envisioned that rule. I don't know if it's been used before. I'll have to look back. But again, it's totally legal. This is nothing illegal. I just don't like it just because it's not a good look. And I don't know if that's necessarily the strongest argument, but it's not a good look to move the elections just based on how you're doing amongst your voters. Oh, I'm doing great right now, so let me run the elections now. Oh, wait, no, I'm doing bad. Let's push it. I don't like that. Just the term should be the term. You do your job during those years. And then when your term is over, you present the results of your job to the people and say, hey, this is what I've been able to achieve. Do you guys like it? Cool. Vote me in again. You guys don't like it? Cool. Vote me out. That's how it should be. Not like, oh, I'm doing good right now, so let's get elections right now. That's why I don't like it. But again, perfectly legal. I want to make that very, very clear. It's not illegal. Perfectly legal. Noel says, hey, Mo, how long will Kouarsi be out and who will fill in him? I think him and Inigo have been spectacular pairing. Technically, he doesn't have to be out. Technically, he could play on Sunday against Real Sociedad. We'll see if the team play him or not, because after all, it's a cut to the face that doesn't really prevent you from playing. But, it would be a good precaution to rest him just because you don't want him as he's playing. God forbid he has contact with someone or goes to head the ball and bumps someone, and then you have that cut reopen. That's why you wouldn't want him to play. But physically speaking, he could totally play. Let's see. Not the gamer says, hey, Mo, would you like to see Jokic at Barca? Apparently, there's rumors that Madrid want to sign him because Mbappe ghosting for real. I've wrestled with this a lot. Ever since the news came out that Barcelona are contemplating a move, I've wrestled with this a lot. Because on one hand, Jokic is on fire. He is scoring goals left and right in a Champions League, in a Portuguese league. He is killing it. So on one hand, you're like, of course, Jokic, why not? On the other hand, I don't like that he will cost 100 mil. I think we should be past that stage of where we spend 100 plus for players. We did that in the past. We saw where that got us. Got us nowhere. And we became broke. Look how it's working out for Madrid. Look at all the money they spent on Jude and Mbappe. I know it's a free transfer, but let's be honest. I'm sure they paid him a crap load in signing bonus and salary. I don't like it. I don't like it because when you spend that much money on a player and he doesn't work out, you are in the hole big time. Look how are we in the hole for Ferran, and we only paid 55. And we're still paying Manchester City for Ferran Torres, and we cannot recover that money because if we sell Ferran, he's not going to sell for anything. What happened if that happens with Jokic? And he costs you 100 mil. Now you're really in the hole. That's a big, big amount to spend. Now you might say, well, Jokic is going to work out. There's no guarantee because remember, Jokic is killing it in the Portuguese league. That's different than Barcelona, and we've seen that a lot. We've seen that players killing it in other leagues just to come to a more difficult one and ghost. Jovic, perfect example. He was killing it with, was it Eintracht he was playing for? I can't remember what team he was playing for. Killing it. Scoring goals left and right. Everybody wanted Jovic. He goes to Madrid. Where is he now, right? So that's my fear with Jokic. Having said that, I think he's a phenomenal player, but I have my fears of spending that much money. And not forget, 26 years old. 26 is your prime as far as market value. From there, your value only dips because you're getting older. So right there, as soon as you get him, you're already in the hole. It's like a car, right? You buy a brand new car. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it already decreased in value. It's difficult. It's difficult. Let's see. Jorge says, hey, Mo, even when I am on holiday, I still make it to live 4:30 in Tanzania. That's amazing. Thank you, my friend, for joining us this late, or I should say this early, since it is 4:30. Neville says he was trying to lower expectations since he saw what happens when we aren't winning. What are you talking about? I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. But anyways, let's do one more comment and then we'll end this. But Javid says, La Liga at its best again. I'm guessing you're referring to the whole bonus not being able to be counted. It's financial fair play rules. What can we do? Oh, and we do have a donation, which apparently I completely missed. But Lorenzo Thomas with the super sticker. Thank you, my friend, for your donation and for your generosity. I really, really appreciate it. And on that positive note, we will end the live stream. I will be uploading another video because there is more news to discuss. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, and your generous donations. I will see you in the next video. And as always, peace.